Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Apologies for the lighting. I am testing a new setup with a pegboard right here, which means I've had to adjust everything. So let me know in the comments down below if it's very shadowed. And once I sit down, my shadow here will go. But I am here to show you masterboards. I was feeling very uninspired yesterday, and I grabbed out my scrap paper bin and I just started creating masterboards. And they're not perfect, but my hope is to sew them. I love this one. And it's got like much bigger scraps than some of these, so. And this one's mostly neutral. And I threw in some little embellishments from one of my little dollar store packs. Love this one too. Big pieces. So I thought I would come on and kind of show you how this all got started. So I have this very thin, almost copy paper weight, 12 by 12 paper. And I went through my scraps and I grabbed anything that was like pink, cream, brown, in that kind of range. So all you really need is some scrap paper, glue sticks, a ruler, and some scissors. So I will put you on fast forward while I kind of get this going. Before you begin this process, make sure you have plenty of glue sticks, because I went through 4 or 5, I think. None of mine were brand new, so I'm just kind of starting with the bigger pieces and trying to pick out which ones I feel are going to be a good focal point. And I like to start in the corners and then work my way in. The reason I like to do that is because the bigger pieces are less likely to peel up on the edges. And like I said, I'm going to sew them, but it's kind of nice when you're cutting things up not to have to worry about it quite so much. And these little papers here, the ones with the flowers, are little pieces of paper that I got from a scrappy friend from my Facebook group that I'm in. And she gifted me like all of these beautiful little papers. And they're perfect for this because they're very thin. They're almost like origami weight paper. And they're just beautiful. I love them. And then, of course, my music sheets. And this is from a very old atlas that my dad gave me. And boy, am I getting mileage out of this. And then these are avocado dyed paper, which I actually have a lot of. I used my tea and coffee dyed paper probably more than I did this. So this project was kind of an excuse to get all these dusty pink papers out. There's little pieces of wallpaper. It's just all of the bits. And then these little die cuts are from a couple of different places in my stash. But as I said, a lot of them are little pieces from dollar store embellishment packs that I bought. And then when I went back, I don't know, maybe about a month ago, they had them again. So I got another whole other set. They're fantastic. And they're all kind of themed and grouped by color. So there's like a travel one, There's a games one. There's like flowers and botanicals, and just, they're great. So this is just me having a play, not really thinking about it too much. And as you can see, I'm using a mixture of different glues. The glue stick is more for the big pieces, and then the Tombow Mono is for the heavier weight cardstock. And boy, is this a good way to use your scraps. If you're someone who likes junk journaling, or like making your own ephemera, these would also be great for card backgrounds, journal covers, notebooks, bookmarks. Like, it's just endless. And I love thrifting, so anything that you've got in your stash that is like old book pages, this is just a fantastic way to use all of those things. And as I said, I like using the thinner paper only because my sewing machine is not a great one. And so it tends to sew through thinner paper easier, as of course I'm sure many of them would. A couple of the masterboards, like the ones I'm going to show you at the end here, they were a lot of cardstock paper, and my sewing machine did not enjoy that. So yeah, so I'm just filling in all the pieces. Ripping and creating little scraps. I wasn't actually left with a huge amount of scraps by the end of this, so which is great. I wasn't going to ink these yet because I didn't really know how I was going to use them, and I like to save the inking for just before I sew or just after I sew. I love the look of ink, but I'm too impatient to ink all of these little pieces before I stick them down. There's so many little pieces on this piece of paper. It's crazy. So you don't have to worry about creating big focal images or anything, especially if you're going to be cutting it up the way I'm going to. And a lot of these don't end up going on this page. Yeah, like little pieces like that, the little lacy strips. You could put actual lace on this, but again, I was too impatient. So looks like I'm back to you live here in just a moment. So I've been working for about a half an hour, and as you can see, the pile on my desk has gotten significantly smaller. I also recycled an old test print. And as you can see, I've changed the direction of some of these, and that's because I like to cut them up and turn them into tags and journal cards. And I'm going to leave these out just because I may end up using them to cover the back as well. So I am going to figure out how I want to cut these up, and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back. I cut up all 3 sheets, and as you can see, they're pretty warped. So I'm going to probably put them under this mat and put some heavy things on top. Some of them I already rounded the corners. Love these ones. I love this one too. And some of them I already covered the back. I don't have a lot of tea-dyed paper left, so, and as you can see, it's kind of stuck up. So when I sew it, that'll help. And then these are all the little embellishments and pieces that I was left with. So those will go back in my stash. And I will be back on probably next weekend. And I'll show you what I do with these for my next step. Actually, I'll show you what I did yesterday. I've been trying to build up my stash of junk journal goodies. So these are what I did yesterday using my master board that I created yesterday. I just sewed and added some eyelets, some little buttons. I don't know what happened there. Weird. So these I'm going to probably add little charms to. And this was just scrappy bits and, again, little ephemera pieces from my dollar store. Little packages that I bought. So you can see what I'm going for. And my sewing is not fantastic, so this one's an oversized tag. I need a punch to do like a slot hole instead of just a regular one. And I did all my sewing with brown thread. So there we go. So that's where I'm headed with these and with these. And I have so many more master boards. So stay tuned as I build up my stash. As always, thanks for coming to hang out with me, and I will see you next video. Bye for now.